Diabetes mellitus is a very serious condition, but many people believe that by simply taking sugar or food high in sugar, you are going to get diabetes. But can somebody who is not taking sugar also get diabetes? The answer is yes. But let me explain to you what really diabetes is. Now, understand something. Diabetes is highly linked to one hormone in the human body called insulin. Now, what does this mean? Diabetes simply means that your body lacks this hormone called insulin. That is to say, there is absolute or relative insufficiency of this particular hormone called insulin. But what is insulin in the first place? Now, let me explain what happens normally. Right? Whenever we eat food rich in glucose, which is a kind of sugar, that is carbohydrate food, we eat rice, etc., that food is going to be digested in our GIT, our digestive tract, and the end product of that digestion of the carbohydrate food that we eat is glucose. But here is something interesting. Your body is not going to use this glucose directly to provide your body with energy. Something must happen. What is that? So this insulin, which is a hormone produced by a very important organ here called pancreas. So in this particular organ are specialized cells called beta cells. So these beta cells are the ones responsible for secreting this hormone called insulin. So this organ pancreas has got beta cells because it is an endocrine gland. It has these beta cells, and these beta cells will secrete this hormone called insulin. Whenever you eat food, digestion happens. That means food rich in glucose, carbohydrates, let's say, that glucose needs to be taken up by the cells to be converted into energy, right? But you know, your cells are not just going to take this glucose and start using it. They need something. That is why the pancreas, the beta cells of the pancreas, this organ, are going to secrete this hormone called insulin. Now, insulin is going to serve as a key. So this is your blood. Now, in your blood, the glucose is already moving in your blood because the blood is a transporter. It's transporting all these chemicals to the various parts of your body. So insulin is serving as a key. That is, it is going to open the door of your cells for this glucose, for the glucose in your blood to go into your cell, and then they can be converted into ATP to provide, they can be broken down into ATPs to provide energy. So this is what happens in our body normally. Now let us look at it this way. Like I said, diabetes simply means the absolute or relative insufficiency of this hormone called insulin. So because of that, we have got basically two classic types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. But then we also have what we call gestational diabetes, but we'll talk about it in a separate video. For the purpose of this video, let's look at it this way. Now, I said absolute or relative insufficiency of this hormone. When we say absolute, that means we actually don't have insulin at all, or we have it very low in our body. For relative, insulin is there, but it is not working, right? Now, for the purpose of this video, let's talk about absolute, what will make our body not to produce or not to have insulin at all. So that is type 1 diabetes. And this type of diabetes is common in younger people, right? So whether you eat sugar or not, you can still get this type of diabetes. But how do you get it? Now let me explain. So like I said, insulin, which is going to be the key player in this, is produced by this organ called the pancreas, by a special cells here called the beta cells. But then in our body we have immune cells, like they are the soldiers protecting our body. But what will happen? Under genetic influence or maybe some environmental factors, the real cause of this is unknown. But we can say some genetic factors or environmental factors will trigger this particular activity. That is, your immune cells, which are there to protect your body, will decide to accidentally attack your own body cells. That is, they will attack the beta cells of the pancreas. And you know, the beta cells are producing insulin. So if your immune cells, these cells, decide to attack this, they are going to destroy it. So they are going to destroy your beta cells. So if your beta cells are destroyed, no insulin is going to be produced. So that means your body lacks insulin because the beta cells have been attacked by your own immune cells, which are there to fight, to help you fight against infections or foreign bodies. Now they are fighting your own body. So that is basically what happened here, right? And you know, insulin is like a key helping to open the cells for glucose to go there. But because you don't have insulin again, glucose is no longer going to leave the bloodstream. It's no longer going to enter your cells. So glucose level in your bloodstream, glucose level in your blood is going to go up. And that is what we call hyperglycemia, right? Or high blood sugar. So if you go and test your blood sugar, it's going to be very high because there is no insulin to open the key, to serve as a key for this glucose to leave your blood and go into the cells to be used by the cells to provide energy. Now, our kidneys are there to filter the blood. So because high glucose in your blood, they are going to come to the kidney. And the kidney is going to filter or excrete, send out most of these glucose in your blood via urine. But here is something magical. You know, glucose love to draw water with it. So if your kidney excretes glucose, then more water is going to follow the glucose. This is why people with diabetes type 1 will experience frequent urinations, because more glucose is being excreted by the kidneys and water follow glucose. So increase in urine output, and this is what we call polyuria. That is one of the common symptoms. Then what will happen? Because more glucose is coming and water is following the glucose, dehydration is occurring, your body feel like you need more water. So this will lead to frequent thirst, the urge to drink water regularly, right? So that is one of the this is also one of the common symptoms. Now, something interesting again will happen. Because glucose, which is one of the key fuels we need in our body to produce energy, because the cells are not receiving glucose because there is no insulin or low insulin to be able to help transport this glucose into the cells need energy anyways. So your body go into survival mode. What would they do? Your body is now going to use the reserve energy you have in fat and your muscles fat and muscles going to break down to provide energy. So because of this, you are going to lose weight. So that is why one of the common symptoms of diabetes is weight loss. Weight loss. So let's look at it again. We all need glucose. We all need glucose to survive, because this is a major fuel our body uses, our cells are going to use to produce ATP, right? But then, if you eat carbohydrates or any food rich in glucose or sugar, which is a sugar, your pancreas secretes a very important hormone called insulin by the beta cells. This insulin serves as a key, because glucose cannot just leave the blood and go into the cells, right? So insulin serving as a key to help this glucose go into the cell so that they can be broken down further into it to provide ATP, which is what your cells need as an energy to perform other functions. But something happens. Your immune cells in type 1 diabetes, which is insulin dependent, type 1 diabetes is insulin dependent. In type 1 diabetes, it is not whether you are eating sugar or not. This is something that happens accidentally. Your own immune cells will decide to fight against your own body cells. That is the beta cells that are producing the insulin. So if they fight against these beta cells and destroy it or kill them, no insulin is going to be produced. And you know, insulin is the key. So if no insulin, just like you go out in the street and you lost your key, no way to enter your room any longer. So that is the same thing. No insulin, you've lost the key. No glucose is leaving your blood to go into the cell. And because of that, glucose is going to remain in your blood. And your blood glucose is going to go up. Because your blood glucose has gone up, blood is going to come to the kidneys, which is the major filtration center of your body. The kidney is going to filter, or most of the glucose is going to pass into the urine. And you know, glucose have this kind of love for water. And you know, as glucose is passing down the tubules, water follow the glucose. So, which will increase the urine output. So that is why there is frequent urination in diabetes, right? Also, because you are losing so much water, you feel frequent thirst. That means the urge to drink water frequently, right? So that is why people with diabetes, you know, have that excessive thirst. They always want to drink water faster. And then something also interesting will happen. Another common symptom is weight loss. Why? Because no glucose is coming to the cells, your body needs to survive anyways. What would they do is the body is going to use fat and muscles, break down fat and muscles to provide energy. And because of that, you are going to lose weight. So despite the fact that you are still eating, in fact, one of the common symptoms of diabetes is what we call dysphagia. You feel like eating too much, but then you still be losing weight, right? Because your fat is being broken down and your muscles are also being broken down to provide energy. So basically, this is type 1 diabetes. Now, this kind of diabetes can be managed with insulin therapy. So only insulin therapy. So people with this kind of diabetes must be on insulin therapy. So basically, this is what type 1 diabetes is. So it doesn't really depend on whether you are eating sugar or not. So this is basically an accidental attack by your own immune cells. So that will cause diabetes type 1. And this one is mostly common in younger people. So I hope you're now being able to understand clearly what type 1 diabetes is. In the next video, I'm going to talk about type 2 diabetes. So you will clearly understand the difference between which one is insulin dependent and which one is insulin independent. So if you have learned anyway from this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to like and share this video.